Hi, I'm Ken. I've been growing veg and plants ever since I could probably walk, and I've been growing it a lot long now that I've got it off to quite a fine art. So much so that we're probably self-sufficient now for 12 months of the year. I do get asked a lot of questions from people that are really struggling, things like why my cabbages just died, or why I've got black lines through the carrots, and a lot of people find it this brick wall, they can't really get the information. So the whole object of these videos is to try and spend 12 months within the confines of the garden and show people how simple it is to produce from a very small area all sorts of organic veg that you can be sure that there's not clinking with chemicals, but also a fraction of the cost that you're probably going to spend in the supermarket. So that's the idea. So this is just an introduction to what we're going to do, and hopefully we might have between 12 and 20 videos out over the 2019 growing season. So I think that's enough at this stage. So this way into Ken's veg patch. Are we ready, Mr. Cameraman?
Yep.
Now I've been told I've not got to walk backwards, so I'm going to have to try and face the camera, but if I fall flat on my face, you just have to bear with me while I pick myself up. As you can see, all the beds are raised beds. They're ideal for growing in, especially if you get to an area like this is in Lancashire with a very high rainfall. The only downside, a year like we've had this year, it's been very hot and we could have done with more water available. They do dry out quickly, but it suits our purposes and it saves you back. So if you walk this way, we'll start from this end. You can see I've used the sides because if you can't spread outwards, you can always spread upwards. So we've got fruit trees on the outside. This is a Cox's apple. Cox's will last well into the new year, so we've probably got apples until February next year. There's two Victoria plum trees, but we've stripped them bare and made a lovely about 14 pots of plum chutney. That'll keep us going with the cheese and ham till next year. Compost spares, they're a bit awkward to store. That's a cherry, and we've got rows of raspberries, and this is a peach tree, but I think it's time's coming because it's in the wrong place. I inherited it from the greenhouse and it's just not working, so I think that's going to end up on the log burning fire. If you want to walk this way, this is possibly the most important part of the whole lot. This is a compost heap. It's not two compost heaps, it's one compost heap divided into two. Now this is this last year's organic waste, and I'm just throwing the grass clippings on, and that's breaking down, and that'll be next year's organic matter for the raised beds. This is the one we're just using now, and this time next year it'll be that one's turn, but this will be empty, and we'll be using that. The rhubarb, everybody has a rhubarb patch. It takes a lot of room up, but somehow I can't part with it, and there's nothing like the sight of little red rhubarbs coming through the ground in early February and spring, and we eat rhubarb crumble every week then, but I suppose it's nostalgic, so I think that's going to stay. Inside this cage is the carrot bed. I've tried growing them without the protection, but the carrot root fly are really prevalent and strong around here, so they're all grown under this, but we should have 12 months supply of carrots here, and we started eating these in end of February, March, but that's something I'll show you how to achieve that at a later date. You can see the carrots growing here. This is, every chance this might collapse on me and trap my neck, so you might have to drag me out of here. There we go, they're nice finger carrots. Absolutely, if you've never tasted a carrot straight out of the ground, you don't know what you're missing, honestly. That, just look at that. Absolutely gorgeous. And the bit of muck on it as well gives it an extra bite. So that's the carrots. We'll discuss that at a later video, hopefully. I'll have to come and tuck those in because carrot root flies are very, very clever and they'll crawl in there. I always grow 2 beds of onions, but this year I've just got 1 bed of onions and I'm concentrating on shallots. These are banana shallots. You see Gordon Ramsay chopping shallots. These are the ones he always uses, you know, the banana shallots. Buy those in the supermarket, cost you about £2 for probably 6. Dead easy to grow from seed. These are the traditional shallots. Nice red shallots. When you're cooking with them, they caramelise very easily and there's a lot more sugar in them, so you get a better end product. So these are the shallots. We have these roasted with the roast and just roasted, absolutely gorgeous. So we're having those instead of onions. But we've got the onions. This is one called Stuttgart, and that'll take us through to at least April next year. This way, Mr. Cameraman. This is a new strawberry bed. There's 3 varieties here. The last bed you've got to change strawberries every 3 years, but you notice these are still flowering. This is one that's ever bearing and we should have strawberries. Strawberries will go until probably November of those. There's 2 more varieties, and this year we just picked the lot and made jam out of them. We had probably 14 pots of strawberry jam. This is asparagus. These are 2-year-old plants. These were reduced in a supermarket. Paid 50p a packet for 3 in each. I had to really nurse them because they've been struggling with the heat of the supermarket, but I've got them through, and I think next year, hopefully, we should have a very, very light picking in April. So that's those top 3 beds. Under the peach tree we've got all the herbs. We've got mint, oregano, tarragon, thyme, more mint, flatleaf parsley, chives, chervil somewhere, and that's absolutely utmost important in the kitchen. I've already dug 1 lot of potatoes up, but there's 5 varieties here because, as you might appreciate, I'm keen on cookery. So we've got Mary's Pipers for chips. We've got one called Maribel for baked potatoes. We've got a red one called Vanessa. That's a very waxy potato, beautiful for making tortillas with. And 2 more, can't think of the name now, but I'll have to look that up. This bed, we grew the garlic and the red onions hanging up there. Small red onions, ideal for barbecuing. Not so much cooking them, but barbecuing whole. So we harvested the garlic, and these beetroot plants are ready in little modules about that big. So this patch here, we'll get 2 crops out of this year, and really it should always be like that. Use everything as much as you can. This is the cabbage patch, but with the summer we've had this year, not been here for cabbage, so this started life as spring cabbage. We had it in spring greens in March, but now you can see it's hearting into sweetheart and 1 or 2 are going over. These were just the round head cabbage, but these are what's left, and they're going to be chopped up and probably end up on the compost heap and recycled for next year. So that's these beds up to now. We're getting into the winter kind of stuff now. 2 types of Brussels sprouts. These are the early ones. You can just see they'll be ready probably another 4 weeks. We'll have our first picking of those. We've got leeks, swedes and parsnips. That's for all the casseroles and stews in the winter. And these canes, it's the same format as the fruit. We can't spread sideways, so we've gone upwards. We had peas there, 2 lots of peas, runner beans, French beans, which have all been harvested and they're all in the freezer. And if you want to make this way over to the coal frame, it's quite cool here, and it's not the warmest of places, Lancashire, very low light content, so the courgettes needed a bit of a boost to start. So I grow them in the coal frames, but they've run away, and this year we've had courgettes on sandwiches, courgettes and chips, courgettes with everything. But it's been a good year for courgettes. Got more beetroot, and finally we've got the celery, which I've never really, to be honest with you, produced a really nice celery, but I grow it mainly for a flavouring ingredient. So chopping the leaves off, it's nice in soups and casseroles and that. And finally, we'll make our way to the greenhouse. This is the nerve centre. This is where it all happens. Let's come in here, Mr. Cameron. This greenhouse, it's like a mini Eden project, if you can imagine. This is the temperate zone, and this is where it's quite cool. And we've got all the tomatoes. We've got cherry tomatoes. You can see all the cherry tomatoes there. We've got beefsteak tomatoes, that's the great big ones. And we've got, for Italian food and cooking, we've got the plums. There's the plum tomatoes. We use those for pasta sauces and Italian cooking. That's a slightly bigger type of cherry tomato. So we've done well for tomato. Cucumbers, these are a small cucumber, but these have really gone past the size. So you usually eat these on about 6 inches long, but you need to grow 2 cucumber plants as well, because if they do die, they suffer from things like wilts and they just collapse, and if you lose your plant, that's it. So we always grow 2, and we've got too many cucumbers, but we cope anyway. We'll go through here to the warmer part. You can see peppers. Peppers need a lot more heat than tomatoes. Peppers, chilies, and in the really hot jungle climate, we've got the aubergines growing. But if you home in on here, all these leaves, Mr. Cameraman, we've got melons growing. These are cantaloupe melons, and you don't squidge the end like that, like a honeydew. You know when they're ready because they've got this gorgeous sweet smell. So that's more or less Ken's veg patch. And what we'll be doing, we'll be growing all these plants again next year. But why we want to start now is that this is not the end, well, it is the end of the growing year, but really it's the start of the growing year. Because as we harvest all the crops, we're going to dig the plots over, manure them. We'll actually be planting the garlic in October, even though you think, oh, it's a hot Mediterranean thing. We'll be planting the garlic in October. You plant broad beans in October, so the growing season goes. And these tomatoes actually sold on Christmas Day last year, so right the way through the winter I'll be keeping you entertained with stories from here. I'm the step, Mr. Cameraman, we want to know the casualties. So we'll just go over and I'll finally talk you out and show you what we've been growing. Right, this section of veg was all growing an hour and a half ago, and it's all from the kitchen garden that we went through over there. So there's your cherry tomatoes, your peppers, your beefsteaks, some red potatoes, that's the Vanessa. This is the white potato that we were talking about. Carrots, brown cabbage, sweetheart cabbage. This is the garlic that we harvested in July, but there's about 50 bulbs, and that'll last us through the year, till next April probably. Your shallots, we had to wait, it's windy here today, so we had to weight the table down with apples off the apple tree. Courgettes, all there, and this is the melon that we picked, and hopefully this is the first one we've had this year. Let's hope there's not a dead mouse in it or something like that, because this is live television, folks. There we are, beautiful cantaloupe melon. That's going to form, yep, that'll be my breakfast tomorrow morning there. That's the cantaloupe melon. These beefsteaks, I'll show you how to grow these next year. But have a look at the beefsteak here. Just look at that for a picture. One of the nicest sandwiches you can make is a nice thick slice of beefsteak like that. Plenty of sea salt, 2 slices of bread, and it's an absolutely gorgeous, just with the salt and black pepper on it there. Well, that's it for this video. Hopefully this lot's arouse your interest, and even if you've only got a little bucket or a window box or 10 acres of ground, there might be something that interests you. So we'll probably be back with another one the back end of September. We'll be talking about lifting the onions and the potatoes, see how we've gone on with them this dry year and what's happening, and we're starting to get ready to show you how to properly dig and prepare soil for next year. It's all relevant at this time of year, so looking forward to you tuning in next time and having another chat with you in Ken's Veg Patch.